What's up, y'all, Vol Nation? Welcome to the very first episode of D&D Sports Talk, where we talk Tennessee sports the way fans actually do.
No sugarcoating, no BS, just real opinions on Tennessee athletics.
I'm David,
And I'm Dustin.
and we're here to talk about a few things today. We're going to talk about a disappointing Tennessee football season in 2025. We're going to talk about Tennessee basketball. We're also going to talk about the upcoming Tennessee baseball season, as well as college football playoffs going on right now. How you doing, Dustin?
Doing great. How you doing today, Dave?
Doing well. Well, let's get right into it, buddy. And let's start on the bad side of things. Tennessee football, the disappointing season. What went wrong? Where did we go wrong this year?
Injuries. I mean, just the amount of injuries we had this year on both sides of the ball. And I understand, football, you do get injured, but it was.
Well, specifically cornerbacks. I mean, we started the season with a player out, and then Gibson went out. We had the kid Hood from Colorado who stepped up and played a great season, but of course he's hitting the portal. So uh, I don't know. I think we also special teams killed us.
Missing field goals at critical times. I mean, it cost us the game against Georgia.
Absolutely, it cost us a game against Georgia, and it cost us the bowl game. Potentially cost us the bowl game. Uh, Illinois would have been in a position where they had to score a touchdown had Max made that field goal.
Yes, and two receivers dropping the ball. I mean, just drop passes all over the field.
Yeah, how do we get to the point where they're catching the easy passes, but still catching the hard passes that shouldn't be caught, which is the case here at Tennessee?
And it's a head scratcher. I mean, it really is. I don't know how much coaching you could do on that, or how mental that is. You miss a couple of balls, you get into your head that you know.
How do we get defensive line and backs and linebackers and safeties to tackle instead of just pushing and trying to arm tackle them? How do we get them to wrap up? What is the deal? Early in the season against Georgia, they were wrapping up. They were throwing them to the ground. Maybe the loss, the way they lost, the heartbreak from that loss, because they had it won. There's no reason why Tennessee should not have beat Georgia. Kirby Smart said it after the game. We didn't win this game.
And I really do feel that after that game and the way they lost, like they were just deflated. Like I don't feel like they played with the same intensity after that.
I don't think so either. And you had Boo in the locker room. I think Boo is a cancer. Not talking bad about Boo. I just think he's not didn't want to be at Tennessee. I think he was forced to be here by people in his camp. I don't think he wanted to be here. I don't think he was making money the way he thought he should be making money. And I think his attitude distracted from the defense as well.
Oh, absolutely. When you have that much distraction inside the locker room, it spills over onto the field. Look, a few years ago, the South Carolina game, Hendon Hooker goes down, and there was some kind of tension in the locker room where a scuffle broke out, and Tennessee should have been playing for a national championship that year.
Absolutely, and they should have been in the playoffs 2 years in a row. Probably should have went deep in the playoffs that first year.
And how much is that on Heupel not diffusing that before it gets to the point of players actually putting hands on each other?
Yeah, I think it's important for him to keep control of his locker room and make sure that they respect each other. But keeping control of that locker room is going to be a key factor for him, because this is something that can happen year in, year out. You don't know which player could come in and just have a bad attitude that other players are not going to like, and they're going to get in scuffles in the locker room, and that relates to the field, and they don't play as well. I just don't know. I think we've made the right move by hiring Knowles.
That's an incredible upgrade, I believe.
I think it's, in my opinion, it may be the best defensive coordinator that's come to Tennessee since uh, 1990s guy.
Wavy gravy.
Yes.
But and then too, is he going to be able to get the players to buy into his new system?
I don't think he'll have an issue. He's got it done before. His defense absolutely whipped us in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was another tough game to watch and tough pill to swallow.
Did he get it done at Penn State? Did he have time to get it done at Penn State? He was there one season.
Yeah,
you can't expect him to come in this fall and expect it to be a complete 180.
Right, because he's got to get his players in there. How many of the current players that are going to stay are the type of players that can work on his
exactly?
Style.
I see an improvement. Do I see a 180 turn? No, I think there's going to be a bunch of mistakes. He's going to get the players and they're going to buy into his schemes. But can he get everything implemented and running like a well-oiled machine in 2026? I think we'll be better.
I think there'll be less mistakes. I think there's going to be a better, more coaching of when a player does do something wrong, he can evaluate that and help the player, not to repeat.
Right. I think we'll get him to wrap up better. Just wait. I'm excited to see how it goes. Hopefully we're wrong, and hopefully it's a 180 turn, and he completely surprises us.
Ideally, that would be what we're as fans, we're all hoping for. But SEC football, it's a different beast. It's a different animal. You're not seeing it so much in the bowl games this year. I don't know what's going on with all that, but
what do you think the drop off was from 2024 defense, which was just phenomenal, to 2025? I mean, yeah, we lost a couple of players, and yeah, we had a couple of players hurt, but the fire just was not there from the first kickoff to the last.
And like I said earlier, I really truly believe after that Georgia loss that it was heart wrenching. It was miserable, and it just the players just. I really really think was the biggest issue this year, was losing that game the way they did. Now, if they would have went in and lost a game like we typically do to Georgia by 15, 20 points,
yeah,
bridge over water. But
so do you think? So the Georgia loss. Let me think. Am I correct? We go into Alabama with just one loss, correct?
Yes.
Just one loss. Do you think the way things happen, because they started playing fairly good defense in the first half of that game, and they played fairly good defense second half, but again, another deflated balloon with pick six right before halftime.
Yeah, and that's just. I don't know about throwing the ball in that situation. I know you're trying to get some more points on the board, but you got to be extremely careful with the ball in that situation.
Yeah, I mean that was probably one of two really bad throws Aguilar made this year. If he'd have thrown it just outside instead of inside, I think we would have actually caught it and had a touchdown.
Quite possibly.
He threw it too far inside. Unfortunately, it's a 100-yard pick six. We're going to move on from
that.
Yeah. Let's move on to some good points. What do you think went very well for Tennessee this
year? Getting Aguilar out of the portal. I know everybody says it was a trade, with Nico or whatever, but I mean, the kid's got an arm. Unfortunately, we found out today he was playing with sounds like a pretty serious injury, or medical
tumor on his bicep, which makes it sound like, if I read it correctly, it was a tumor in the bicep of his throwing arm.
And how much did that play into that pass against Alabama and some of the overthrows and underthrows? Like,
as well as he played this year, if he wasn't 100%, what would this kid have done if he is 100%?
Right.
I mean, I think we beat Georgia for sure, without a doubt, not even close. You know,
And
by a
now,
touchdown or more. Maybe that interception doesn't happen against Alabama. I think we beat Arkansas. No, I'm sorry, Oklahoma. I think we beat Oklahoma pretty handily. Vanderbilt. We're just going to let that go. We don't want to mention his name. He came in here and single handedly beat us. And that's all that needs to be said about that. It was embarrassing, and we'll move on.
and with all these injuries, does that bring up the question about what's happening in the strength and conditioning room?
I think that's why
You
Heupel's
know,
made that change. He fired the strength and conditioning coach. They're on the look for one. I don't know who that would be, but I think he's looking at that.
but was this a thing just like under Butch Jones, where the he fired the strength and conditioning coach because the players said he was training them too hard?
I
Do
don't
you think that had anything to do with it, or was
know.
it just bad coaching from the conditioning coach?
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how to word this. Maybe not complete bad coaching. Maybe not completely up to standards of what it needs to be. Maybe that's a better way to look at it. I don't think he purposely just said, we're not going to lift weights today.
Mm.
I think he just didn't have much. And I think that's what got him fired. I think that's why Heupel's moving on. He's looking for somebody to step the game up and get us up to physicality we need to be.
And do you feel Heupel is making these changes? One, he's coaching for his job next year.
I don't think Heupel's really on the hot seat um, with anybody except the fans that are always making noise.
And you're gonna have those.
I mean, you had fans that were making noise with Rick Barnes after we lost in the Elite Eight last year. Oh, he's not, and he may not ever get it done. But you've got 138 teams that's battling to be into the dance. You've got 68 teams that make the dance. You've got one team that wins it all out of 138 teams that have a chance.
Yeah,
You don't have a high percentage
right.
shot. Uh, do you give yourself a good shot with Barnes? You're going to get to the dance. You're going to get to the Sweet 16. You're probably going to get to the Elite Eight. Can he get past that? I think he's got the talent that can do it if they play up to their potential, if they can make free throws, and if they step their defense up just a little. It don't have to go up a lot. I've seen hints of them being able to play tough defense this year, but it's not consistent.
Right.
And we just completely got off
Yeah.
but that's okay. We'll
Yeah.
move back into it. We were in football and what went wrong. No, we were on football. What went right?
Yes.
Yeah. We got to get the ball into receivers' hands and them hold on to it. That's major. Uh, I think offensive line next year is going to be really strong. I hate to lose Lance Hurd. I understand he doesn't want to move positions because David Sanders is going to take left tackle, and he doesn't want to move from the left tackle position. So I wish Lance the best. We'll miss him here, but I think our offensive line is going to be strong. You're going to have David Sanders playing left tackle, uh, and Harry should be starting at right tackle. Um, so I don't know. I think we're going to be well. Our running backs hate losing Peyton Lewis.
That one's really tough. Hopefully, we can use the portal to get a strong running back.
I think Deshaun's the man for sure. But if he goes down, what do we have?
Right, and
Star Thomas, he's out of it.
he is, yes. I really hope we could get like two really good running backs. I really like having more than just two great running backs that you can plug in there because it gives the other guys more time to rest, less likely to get injuries. And, we haven't seen a 200-yard rushers in a game at Tennessee in a while. And I would love to get back to
I
seeing
would
that again.
say I'd go back to, I don't know, we go all the way back to Cobwebs if we had to.
Actually, yeah, I think so. Which, that's rarefied area. That's not a common thing to see, especially in today's football where it's all, run and gun and slinging the ball all over the field.
So what do you think we got to do during spring practice? What do we got to do now in the portal to move into spring practice to be prepared for the 2026 season? Because it is going to be brutal.
Yeah, that scheduling is just nasty schedule. I really feel that you're gonna we need to get at least 2 running backs and some depth on the offensive line. If somebody goes down, how well is the person behind them, coached up and ready to go?
Yeah.
I think those positions, wide receiver, 1, 2 wide receivers. I know we got some freshmen coming in. But next year with that scheduling, I think you really need to have more guys in there that have the experience and have played a lot of ball to get in there to help out with that schedule next year.
Let's talk about the quarterback situation. Of course, we don't know anything about Aguilar yet. I'm kind of torn. If he's going to be 100% after the surgery, I absolutely would like to see him play another season.
Yeah, I think everyone would love to see what he could do with a fully healthy throwing arm.
On the flip side of that, it's only 1 year. So we're right back in the same boat January of next year. We're looking. We've got a 5-star in Faison coming in. We've got a former 5-star, strong 4-star on the roster already. Is it time for Heupel to trust these guys and start building his own quarterbacks?
I think he should, because I feel like if you're just going to play this game every year where you get a quarterback every single year out of the portal, I just don't feel that's very sustainable in this league. And these are highly touted kids out of high school. I think you should give them a shot. If it doesn't work, I mean, like we said, that schedule is just it's not going to be an easy road. I think no matter what next year.
Do we go out and get a strong 3-star that's proved himself, that's wanting to transfer, not to necessarily come in and compete for the starting position, but to come in so if one of them went down, if we had issues where Faison didn't play well, and McIntyre didn't play well. Do we need to have that third proven quarterback on the roster just in case that we can throw in?
I would agree with that. I don't want to get another 5-star and have too much ego battling in the locker room. But if you bring a 3-star guy in, typically those guys are going to train harder, practice harder, and try to prove that they deserve to be there.
Look at Aguilar, who's 3-star.
Right.
Big team player. His head was in the game. He wanted to do well for Tennessee. I honestly think he wants to come back. But we'll see. I don't know how the courts will rule. I'm torn on it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like how you give them one more year and then another year and another year. Do we want a 28-year-old college athlete?
I think that's where it's headed.
I don't like that. I think after a certain point,
I think we're headed into a season of college football where college football will be treated as like an MLB farm league. I think Tennessee Volunteers are going to be the future farm league like the Knoxville Smokies.
And I've heard, grumblings and rumors out there that, the SEC, Big 12 are going to break away football from the NCAA and have their own league that they control.
I can see the SEC and Big Ten doing that with 24 teams in each league, essentially having uh, an AFC NFC situation of college football. It'll be ACC, I'm sorry, the SEC and Big Ten, and then everybody else, Big 12, ACC, Pac 10, Pac Mountain West. They're all going to be in the NCAA, but I think SEC and Big Ten are going to break away from the NCAA, and they're going to have their own league, and people will be fighting to get in those leagues.
Yeah, and it's I don't like it, and I know things have to evolve and change, but it's just it's almost like it's starting to be just the Wild West out there.
Well, I really hate the way college football has gone. Since 2020, we've been able to start paying players. There's a bigger transfer portal. You can do whatever you want to do there. I think there should be a cap on what players make. I honestly think it ought to go back to, I mean, you get a full ride scholarship to a state university, you're getting $100,000 scholarship. Your education's paid for, your housing's paid for, your food's paid for. Is that not enough? I mean, yeah, maybe give them a stipend, have some spending money, $500-$600 a month, so they have some pocket money. So if they need something, not every player that comes in has a family that can, just send if they need something. They're struggling at home themselves. So is that not enough?
Well, I think a lot of it too is you see how much money is generated by these universities for football now. Ohio State and I believe it was Texas, Forbes valued their programs at $1 billion.
I think Ohio State, Texas were number 1 and 2, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee.
Yeah. And so, you see that and it's like, well, why am I not getting a little bit of that? I'm the one out there putting my body on the line,
Well, and this has made all this NIL stuff, paying players, and them getting a portion of the profit now, which is the new thing. It's making it to where true fans, me and you, we can't afford to go to the game anymore.
Yeah, and I really feel like at a certain point you're gonna have to start having like legal contracts of, like you said, I think you should only be able to transfer 1 year,
Yeah.
Or transfer one time,
With the
and
exception is if you've already transferred and a coach gets fired.
or leaves. Yeah,
leaves.
I'd be okay with that. And then you have in there that you have to play every game. You go to a bowl game, you can't sit out. You
Yeah.
sit out, you got to give back 50% of the money or something.
Yep.
Because all these kids sitting out of bowl games, it's costing teams games.
It is. And they're not, bowl games aren't what they used to be. They're not important.
No,
They're
there's
just fun for the kids to play, with the exception of the games you get with inside the college football
But-
playoff.
do you feel that we need to like ease up on all of these bowl games? There's some this year where there's maybe 1,000 people in a stadium
Yeah,
that
I think
holds
it's
60,000
gotten out
people.
of control.
I mean, I think it was the JLab Bowl. There was nobody there. You
No.
cannot tell me they made money on that bowl game.
Las Vegas Bowl, I don't think bowls anything.
Do you think a lot of them are just these companies are doing them as tax write-offs?
Bowl with Bluefield, I don't think it pulls much of anything.
Yeah,
It's just because they're not getting teams that are attractive.
Well, like I asked though too, do you think these companies are doing these bowl games as a tax write-off? You lose money on it, you can write that off on your taxes.
I would actually think so. Go back to teams that are attractive. I'm not saying these teams don't have a lower fan base,
Right.
but they've got a fan base. Probably not going to travel across country to play.
Right. There's only a handful of schools where, Tennessee, Bama, Ohio State, that Michigan, they'll travel.
Indiana now.
Well, yeah, we'll see how that goes
I
next
think
game.
Clemson used to travel.
Clemson brings up a good thing there. What do they do with Dabo?
Dabo, I don't know where to move on from that. I don't know what they're going to do.
I mean, he basically said, "Fire me."
He's said that several times. You don't like me, fire me. Well, I think it's getting to that point. But they're also at the point now where they're going to have to pay to get out of their obligations with ACC if they're going to be able to move. That's going to cost them, I believe I saw them upwards of $30 million. It's going to cost them to get out of that contract ACC. So are they looking at the importance? Stay mediocre with Dabo for a few years, buy your way out of the ACC, get to a relevant conference, then get yourself a relevant coach. I
I,
don't know. It's
I would feel
6-7.
I would I feel like it would be a better move to get the coach first, because if you're mediocre, how many of these big leagues are going to want another mediocre team?
Yeah, but then you look at the Clemson.
But how big is that brand after the
It's
last couple of years?
It's still top 10.
Wow.
I think they just got the branding like Tennessee. Their branding stayed in the top 10 for the decade and a half. We were very here,
Yeah. Those are some dark days.
but the brand is still there. I think Clemson just got that staying power as far as the brand.
Yeah, I just feel like though that they're looking at how much, you know,
And
TV money is coming in.
honestly, Dabo's the problem. His problem is he refuses to use the transfer portal. He doesn't want it, which we're complaining about. But that's the way of college football these days. That's how you're building the roster. And he wants to go out and recruit. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But it takes him time to build the players.
Yeah, and I feel, that's one of the reasons Saban kind of retired. That and Miss Terry saying you're done.
Yeah.
But you can't.
So
Some coaches just can't adapt to
the
that.
question is, if they put pressure on Dabo and tell him you want to keep your job, which I don't know if he really wants to keep his job with some of the press conferences he had.
Yeah, I mean, he almost seems like he's like, please fire me already. Like, I want out of here.
But do they tell him, hey, you need to go out and get some players out of the portal to help this team?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, 100%.
He does that. Does Dabo get back to playing Dabo football? He could completely turn it around. It's not unheard of.
No, and I think he's a great coach, and I just think he's got to adapt, and over the years you've seen, coaches that not be able to adapt to things. Dean Smith, North Carolina basketball, they changed it to where you can leave for the NBA after your freshman year, and he's like, I can't build a team like that. That's not how
I think that needs to go away. I think it should be, if I'm correct, football, you have to play 3 years before you can go pro.
Yes.
Why is that not the same way in basketball? Why do you not have to play 3 years?
I think because of how big and physical NFL guys are. I always laugh when people are like, "Oh, that Alabama team could be the Cleveland Browns." Like, no, they can't. It's completely.
You can't compare the Cleveland Browns to anybody but like.
Well, true, but in an NBA, I mean, did LeBron really need to go to college? I mean, he was NBA ready out of high school. I think you should.
There are some players that come into college football that don't necessarily need to play college football. Skill positions, maybe not. You got some money. Right out of high school.
I don't know. I still think that with football, you need that pedigree of college and building and weight room and getting ready for that next level.
What's the rule like baseball? Can they go after 1 year?
Oh, you can go.
I know you can go straight out of
high school. Yeah, but most of the time, if you get drafted straight out of high school, they send you to the farm leagues for
there's a lot
few
of players
years.
that get drafted straight out of high school and then off to go to college.
Yes, yeah. Tennessee had a few of those under Coach V. Speaking of Coach
V, how do you think baseball's going to do this year under Elander? I'm excited. I think Elander's going to be great.
I love that the players have already surrounded him, and from what I hear, they're the reason he got the job because they wanted him as the head coach.
I absolutely see a situation where the players went together to Danny White and like, hey, give it to Elander or you lose him.
Yeah, and they can't afford that right now because they just have all that money they just invested in, the expanding the
Still
stadium.
investing. I think this is stage 2. They still got one more stage to go
Yeah, they
after
do.
this year.
So he couldn't have. You lose the players, you're losing season ticket sales. I mean, right off the bat, because most fans are going to be like, "Oh, I'm not going to go back to what it was before Coach B."
Yeah. Now, looking forward, having Elander as coach, which I think he was the major recruiter for Coach B, anyways. So I think recruiting is going to stay high. Kind of drop off, you think we see as far as quality of play?
The two biggest the coaches that we've lost, the hitting coach and the pitching coach. I'm curious to see who he brings in and if they're as good of a coach as the previous ones, because our hitting was insane stats.
Our hitting was insane stats when we won the championship. It wasn't insane. It started off that way.
It started off, yes.
What? They had 8 grand slams in 14 games.
Yes.
Some kind of insane number like that. And then that dropped off.
Well, yeah, and in baseball,
Of course, you're going from a different level. Like you hit SEC level play, and that's your pitchers are.
And you didn't have Christian Moore on the roster anymore.
You didn't.
Which I was, God, I wish we could have had him one more year.
I think baseball is going to be fine. Do we win a national championship? I could see a situation where this team really rallies around Elander and they're just mentally strong and just refuse to lose. They're going to lose games.
Right. The season's too long.
It's baseball. I don't know when's the last time there was an undefeated team in college baseball. Has it ever?
That would one I would have to look up. Not that I know of. But yeah, I think that we need to get really strong hitting and pitching coaches.
I think you're right. We do. I think we're going to be fine. I didn't see very many. I think maybe just one player went to the transfer portal when Coach B decided to go to San Francisco. I don't. I think everybody else stayed. So I think our roster is going to be strong. But you've got SEC play. Can you be is Elander? Can he be the next Van Horn of college baseball? Can he be the next Fatella of college baseball?
I mean, I think the possibility is there for sure, but it's one of those things we have to wait and see.
It's not far away. We've got just over a month before the first game. They're probably hitting the practice field in a couple of weeks, I think.
The LSU Shreveport Pilots of the NAIA went 59-0 in 2025 and be their first team to go undefeated.
Wow. So it has happened.
Not on this level, but yeah.
Wow. Pretty impressive.
In baseball, yes.
I see a situation where they're contending for an SEC. I see a situation where they're in playing in the national.
Yeah, retaining all the players, I feel they have a strong shot to return to Omaha. Winning it, I don't know. That's still, I want to see how the pitching and hitting is before I can.
Yeah, it's all up there. I think I wish Coach B well. Hope he does well out there. I don't know how long they'll give him if he's not successful.
Well, and too, he's the first coach to go straight from college to pros without having any experience coaching in the pros. So, like you said, how much time are they going to give him? Is he going to be able to control the locker room like he did in college? I
think it's going to be different. I think he was building kids, so to speak, teenagers coming out of high school. I think he was building them to become respectable men, and I think he enjoyed that. So it's going to be totally different on what he's doing there.
And can he adapt? Can he adapt to that?
Can he adapt?
Can the players adapt to him?
Yeah, can he adapt going from a 56 game regular season to a 162 game regular season?
That is just it is still wild to me when I hear that. That's how many games are played. It's just like
you're going from a 3-month regular season to a 7-month regular season. You're going
shorter off season.
shorter, shorter off season. Uh, you're looking at February to June, 4.5 months total from beginning of season to World Series champion in college baseball. You're going really starting mid-February when they hit spring training in Florida and Arizona. So you're really going from mid-February till late October, early November.
Yeah, it's brutal.
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 So I don't know. I wish him well. I'll pull for you. I want you to win, except when you play the Tigers.
And the Pirates. But we never win anyway, so.
Pirates, that's fine. I just can't pull for you when you play the Tigers. Lifelong fan of Detroit, so. But I hope you do well. I don't want to see you not succeed. But if you don't succeed, don't go to another college team, please. Especially in the SEC.
Yeah, just if you come back to college, it's not in the SEC.
If you come back to college, come back and be co-manager at Tennessee. Anyways, what do you think about basketball?
Head scratcher. But I call it Rick Barnes ball. They'll play one game, lights out, and then the next game is just awful. And again this year, free throws. I watched UT basketball my entire life. We always struggle on the free throw line.
Well, we're shooting less than 40% on the year, or less than 50%.
Right, and that's not going to win you games in March.
Uh,
Dean Smith, when he was still coaching, you had to hit 100 free throws in a row before you left practice. If you hit 99 and missed the last one, you had to start over. His teams, I want to say their percentage was like over 80%.
I can see that. Yeah, I just feel like they don't stress free throws enough. But when you get into the big dance and you're playing down the road to try to win a championship, actually, that probably starts with the conference championship tournament. Free throws can make and break you.
I mean, how many games have you seen where it literally comes down to free throws? And
Syracuse
mhm.
should have beat Syracuse, but make free throws. So lost by 2. Illinois lost by 13. Missed a lot of free throws.
44%.
I don't know if there was enough missed free throws to make up the difference. They shot in the 30 percentile range from the field. So
Yeah.
they just didn't play well. Defensively, I don't see the fire that I've seen the past couple of years. They're missing Zakai. They're missing Jamal. Can Amen get to the level that Zakai was at? I think Amen's got the talent, definitely. Just seems to be holding himself back.
Yeah, and I feel this team too has not really gelled with each other yet. And I don't know how you fix that at this stage of the season, but it almost feels like there's like a disconnect between the players right now.
I really thought Amen Gillespie would come in here and gel and really take the SEC by storm, but it's just not been the case.
How much of that do you think is jitters coming into like a big program like Tennessee and a Hall of Fame coach and this rabid fan base? Because we know how we are.
Fan base and expectations.
That's a lot on a young guy, coming in.
Especially on Amen Gillespie. Junior. He may be a senior. This may be his senior year. He played at least 2 years in Maryland.
Yeah, because Zakai, he came in and he took control of the team.
He did.
He got everybody to buy in.
Year, he made a lot of mistakes.
And he will as a freshman.
And I'm really okay with mistakes. I just want to see that same fire and effort out of him beside Zakai. And I know they're two totally different players. But am I correct? Amen was a McDonald's All-Star
Yes.
team. So Tennessee hadn't had a McDonald's player in I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, so I mean, Amen's he's good. He needs to improve. He needs to play to the level that he can play at. I think it's a mentality thing.
No, it really is, and that's and like I
And yeah,
said,
he's 18.
and going from high school to the Food City Center, packed out, screaming fans, like that's a lot to take in.
You didn't have 24,000 people screaming at you at your high school.
No, they might have been 100 people at our games. We were not very good.
Uh, I think they'll, if they can step their game up, they can play with that fire. Start making free throws and stop making really mental mistakes. They've got potential to go deep into the tournament, but we'll see. I mean, I think Saturday, I think tomorrow's going to tell a lot when you start SEC play.
Yeah, going into that environment yeah.
I don't know if they can go in there and win. They change my mind.
And they got Calipari now as their coach, and when he first was hired, I heard a lot of disgruntled Arkansas fans that did not want him.
Yeah, now they love him.
Yeah, is the fan base finally buying in now?
I think they are. How long is he going to stay there?
Until he gets him in trouble.
Speaking of that, I mean, why the quick exit from Kentucky?
Well, especially after getting a lifetime contract, that makes you think, did something get paid off? Did something get swept under the rug? You just don't up and leave after that contract.
Yeah, it's just, I didn't understand that situation. I can't see that Arkansas can pay him more than Kentucky. They spill everything they've got going into men's basketball. That's why their football team can't get any money and get players.
Right.
Speaking of that, they get rid of Stoops.
Kentucky? Yeah. And honestly, you can't after so many years of mediocrity, you got to move on. I thought they should have canned him last year.
They should have, but I mean, being on his side of things, he was in a situation that's really unfair in the college football world. He didn't have the money to go out and get they were fine with 2 and 3 star quarterback. They wouldn't allow him to go out and get a 4 or 5 star quarterback.
Well, yeah, because they, like Arkansas, they want to spend their money on basketball.
So I don't know. I think I think Stoops is a decent coach. Will he coach anywhere else? I think he will. If he have success, I think he will. They give him the assets he needs.
So they got Will Stein from Oregon.
I mean, does it really matter? Could they bring Saban out of retirement? And
I don't think Miss Terry will allow that.
No, but could they bring Saban out of retirement? Are they going to give a caliber coach of Saban's caliber? Are they going to give him any more financial support to build a team?
He would get more than Will Stein would be getting. And that's only because of him being the GOAT.
I don't remember the exact record, but I believe the first year at Alabama was not a great year.
No, they lost to.
And could Saban go do at Kentucky what he did in today's football?
No, not at Kentucky.
Could he have gone to Kentucky pre-2020 and built the same thing?
If he got the backing that he had at Alabama.
I mean, that's before the NIL.
Well, and then too, most people don't realize Saban wasn't Alabama's first choice.
No.
He was number 5 on the list. And this is coming off after him leaving Miami, the Dolphins. And I think he left mid-season, right? I believe.
He probably did. I'm not so sure that was his decision.
Right.
I think he had a lot of pressure on him.
But I'm fine with Kentucky being mediocre.
Oh, I'm fine with them being mediocre.
Yeah.
Can they get a high? Doesn't matter if they got a high caliber coach. Signetti goes in Kentucky. He's not going to have the success he's had.
He would win more games.
Have success, maybe not on the level he's having it.
Right. He would have more wins than Stoops for sure.
but you're playing in the SEC at Kentucky. You're playing in the. But I honestly, I was going through the season coming up to the Big Ten championship game. I'm looking at this on paper, and I'm like, Indiana's really Oregon's. They beat Oregon, but really not played many people playing in the Big Ten. Ohio State's coming off a national championship. They're undefeated. Ron Day's probably got this team. When they went into Indianapolis, they beat Ohio State or the Big Ten championship. I was just like, they're really the real deal. They've got a nasty, nasty, nasty.
Yes, they do.
And Mendoza, what he proved yesterday.
I mean,
I know why he won the Heisman.
is anyone going to beat them?
If anybody's going to beat them, it'll be this next game. Oregon is going to give everything they've got. Oregon lost one game. Indiana. So I expect a great game. If Indiana plays defense the way they played against Alabama, the way they played against Ohio State, if they can keep that intensity up, I think they win the national championship.
Hypo fires secondary coach Willie Martinez.
Yes.
I did not hear that.
Yes. Came down a little earlier.
So, how much is this of Heupel potentially trying to keep his job, or
I
the
don't know how
university
much.
wanting him to?
I think Heupel's pretty secure in his job. I think Danny White's going to keep him secure. I mean, they've got a long, drawn out history.
Yeah, but it's not so much him; it's the people donating all the money.
Well,
And
yeah,
if we know anything about UT, they like their money.
yeah, but I've not heard the Haslams part.
Yeah.
We're okay.
We might have to edit that name out, bleep it out.
I don't know so much that was this a Knowles decision and Apple just took it so Knowles didn't feel bad. That situation.
I mean, as the head coach, I would hope that's how that happened, because Noel needs to get his guys in there.
What was our worst position in defense? Granted, we were banged up the whole season.
Massive injuries.
But still, cornerbacks and safeties just did not play.
And that's why I said, we need to go to the portal and get some experienced guys to help these freshmen along. We played so many freshmen in the secondary this year that had no experience in college ball.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you can bring in a couple of guys that have background, that don't have an ego, and they can help coach these younger guys up, because we need our second and third string to be just as good or almost as good as our starters, especially in this league in this day.
I just don't know how much he can get done in this first year. Like I said, I expect to see a better defense next year, but I don't know how much a better defense is going to help you with the schedule we got.
And that's the thing. I think you're going to have a more fiery defense and better tackling under Knowles.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. And I think safeties and corners will play better.
Yeah.
No,
I do not. But yeah, talking about the schedule, you got Furman, that should be a win, at Georgia Tech. Who knows what Georgia Tech's team is going to have next year? They looked really good this year.
Early on. Kind of dropped off late in the season.
We got
early.
And then we got
Kennesaw.
Yes. Then Kennesaw State. And then we have Texas here, Auburn here. We go to Arkansas, Bama at home, at South Carolina, Kentucky at home, at Texas A&M, LSU at home, and then at Vanderbilt.
That Vanderbilt games, I want to go out there and just embarrass them.
100%. And I think Heupel knows that and knows that from the fan base. And if we have everything clicking next year and our quarterback's 100% healthy, I think Heupel will go out there and just score as many points as he can.
This game, Knowles runs 14, which is different than what they've run in this year.
Yes. And honestly, with the way the college ball is now, that's the scheme everyone should be running. I mean, you've got to be protecting that secondary because everybody's slinging the ball everywhere.
Yeah, it's Heupel's offensive mentality, his style of play. It's becoming more common in the world of college football. Everybody's trying to copy it. It's not unique to him anymore. I mean,
Is Heupel the Steph Curry of college coaches?
yeah,
I mean, Curry really changed the NBA.
yeah. Lane Kiffin runs a similar offense to what Heupel runs. And really, was that Heupel's offense or was it his offense?
Right, and I was wondering that too, because Golish, I mean, they've lost some games at South Florida. I did not want to see him come to Auburn. I'm happy for him, but that's going to be an interesting game this year.
Arkansas, I didn't want to go to Arkansas. I didn't want him to come to SEC, period.
Right. Most fans probably feel that way, but congrats to him. I knew he was going to get a shot at a big time school after what South Florida did last year.
Yeah, going into Florida, even though Florida's, they've been down for quite some time now, still going in to the swamp in Florida.
It was a beautiful thing to see.
It was a gorgeous thing to see. What about the college football playoffs we just been watching?
Man, they did nothing, nothing to stop the chatter about who should get in, who shouldn't get in.
How do we change things to get there? I mean, I know they're talking about going to 16 teams, maybe even 20.
Well, I think one thing too, fans have got to understand is, should Texas Tech have been in with their record? Yes. Did they show up? Absolutely not. That was 23-0. That's embarrassing for the playoff committee.
Could have just been they had a bad game, yeah, but.
And honestly, I still don't understand why Alabama got in. You lost to Florida State, who I believe only had 4 wins this year. You get torched by Georgia, and you have 3 losses. And I'm a Notre Dame hater. I have always been, but they should have been in over Alabama.
Absolutely.
And I agree with the coach complaining and refusing to play a bowl game. Little spiteful, I hope he asked the players if they wanted to, because some of the players could probably use an extra game for draft stock,
How do they correct that other than increasing from 12 to 16, maybe 20 teams? I mean,
but I still don't. You could have 30 teams in a playoff. They're always going to pick teams that they think are going to draw the most viewership because all the money is in viewership. And unless you're
Tulane going to draw more than Duke, who won a championship and really deserved to be in there, even though they lost 5 games.
I feel like you probably have more Tulane football fans than you do Duke football fans.
But I don't know. I think, yeah, sure, increase it to 16 teams, maybe 20 teams. But there are just way too many Division I football teams. Out of the 130 or so Division I football teams, you've got 40-ish that can really compete.
Right. And
and that's pushing it, maybe not even 40.
I really just feel like there's too many teams in the league. Like we need to scale it back down and make the playoffs more competitive where you don't have these smaller schools.
I would be all in for going to 16 teams in Division I. creating, second college football playoff, call it like a Division 1A for these smaller schools like JMU and Tulane and Boise State.
Now Boise though, they play every
Mm,
every few years they'll put together a team.
every once
Their problem is they can't keep their coach because he has such success at Boise, and then the big
So
schools come and poach them.
why not do a scenario 16 Division 1, 12 Division 1?
Well, like you have the March,
Because
like you have the March Madness. You have 3 different tournaments that go on.
Yep.
Or no, I think it might be even 4 now. Yeah, and set it up like that.
Is it fair to these kids that are playing for the JMUs and playing for two? They're going out and getting embarrassed.
Right, and then how is that affecting their potential draft stock?
Right. I see maybe a second division. I think it would go over well.
I think too what you could do, and kind of stealing this from European soccer, after a 5-year period, if you have a losing record, you automatically go down.
Yeah.
And you have to play your way back in.
Where would that put Tennessee?
We would have hopefully just played our way back in with Heupel.
Where would it?
We would have
Carson Newman or something.
We would have been relegated probably to like the Southern League with UTC and Sanford. But no, for like do a 5-10 year period or something, and then I think that would help cut down on these potential weaker teams getting into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of the automatic bids and round 1 buys. I think everyone should play in the first round.
If you go to 16 teams, there can't be a
Right. And if they
doesn't work.
Yeah, if they do go to 16, that that would be great, because I don't like teams just sitting there waiting. Because one, football is one of those things. You have 2-3 weeks off.
You're already going to have 2 or 3 weeks off.
Right. And then you have another extra week on top of that off. Like, that's a lot of time off in football.
It is.
So,
it absolutely is.
Hopefully we go to 16. I wish the regular season was shortened by a game or 2.
Can you really afford that?
With the TV money that these people are paying, like,
so your Tennessee going to short your season by 2 games. It's got to be the 2 games.
Right.
I really absolutely despise the 9 SEC schedules.
I know, and we kind of got bullied into that, and it just infuriates me. I'm like, if these other leagues want to do that, that's fine. Why do we have to conform to what you're doing? We didn't ask you to do that. You're choosing to do that for more TV money. We already have our TV money. The SEC is good.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for Prime or Netflix to come in and try to get the rights to have the games.
I think it's just around the corner.
Yeah. Well, I saw Hulu has NBA games now.
They do. Prime's got NBA. NFL.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a lot of fun today.
Yeah, it's been a good episode.
Before we go, let's talk about the college football. The 2 games we got coming up next week: Indiana and Oregon.
That one, I think, is going to be a battle.
I think you're right. Like I said, if Indiana plays defense the way they've been playing against Ohio State, they played great defense all year long, but they've really stepped it up against Ohio State. And they made Alabama look like Alabama.
Loved every second of
it. If they play that kind of defense, I don't think Oregon. They may not be able to keep it close. It may be another Alabama situation.
Yes, Cincinnati has got those kids. They're a unit right now.
They're believing in themselves.
And as they should.
A team that believes like they're going to be really hard to take down.
I'll be honest. I didn't see that happening.
I didn't either.
I assumed Alabama would just go in there and do what Alabama does.
I thought I go back to the Big Ten championship game. I really thought Ohio State would mop them up.
Yeah.
And then so kudos. I hope he win it all. I'm going to take Indiana over Oregon. I'm going to say, I'm going to take, I'm going to say 28-13.
I really think it's going to be a lot closer than that. IU is favored by 4.
Still take 28-13.
Over under 47.5. And then Miami, Ole Miss. Miami is a 3.5 point favorite. Over under 51.5.
Who are you taking on the Indiana?
I don't see Oregon losing to. It's a tough one because I don't see Oregon losing to the same team twice in one season. I don't see anybody beating Indiana, so I think it's going to be a lot closer. And whoever wins, I think it's going to be by like 3 or less.
Still, I'm taking Indiana. 28-13. Miami, Ole Miss.
Over under 51.5. I am going to be honest. I am shocked at Ole Miss right now.
Well,
Interim coach, and he's 2-0.
But Lane kind of built that foundation on it. He built, there's still Lane's team, what he built. If I'm thinking correct, they played Georgia in a close game in the regular season.
They did, yes.
So the closeness didn't surprise me.
The ending was rather
baffling. Interesting. It is what it is. ESPN did mess up when it's tied 34 on the app. Ole Miss hit the field goal to go up by 3. The app, they made it said Georgia. Got a text saying that. And then the safety, I didn't see the ball.
It did. Yeah, I did see. I watched the replay. It did hit the pylon.
I don't know. I'll be honest. When they're running around and pitching the ball, there were a couple of times I was like, he's got some blockers.
And those plays too. I'm so worried that some kid's going to get some stupid injury. Yeah. Because you're literally the defense is just flying around trying to stop you.
Yeah, good for Ole Miss. Glad they beat Georgia. I don't want to see them back there. Maybe another 10 or 15 years. I also don't want to see Ole Miss go to the championship.
Honestly, I think it would be very comical to see Ole Miss in that game.
They're going to credit Lane with it.
Do you give Lane a ring?
Well, you can't. He's not with the university. But he's going to get credit.
Right.
So I don't want to see it. Plus, Miami's just playing out their minds right now in the playoffs.
Yeah, that Mario Cristobal going back, his alma mater, man, he has built something down there, and I'm taking Miami in that game. I don't know how close it's gonna. I think it's gonna be a game. It's gonna be either really, really close, or Miami is just gonna run them out of the stadium.
I was surprised what Miami did this week. Didn't expect them to take Ohio State the way they did.
Yeah, and because Miami has had some sluggish games this year, so that game could have went either way.
Yeah, it could have. So I'm actually gonna take Miami, and I think they win by a field goal.
Yeah, I think it might be a real slug out close.
I think you're going to have Ole Miss coming in extremely high from their win, which they should. But can they keep their heads?
Man, that quarterback.
Yeah. Can they keep their heads?
Right. But this coach seems like he has got the players bought in and, playing together.
So I don't know. We'll see. I guess after the games next week, we'll come back and we'll talk about that. See how Tennessee basketball is doing after their first week of SEC games. And see what's going on in the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's a wild west out there for sure.
It is. You don't have very long. I mean, spring practice just a little over 2 months away. Get the players in here and get them in the weight room.
Yep. Get that playbook in their faces.
Hey guys, we appreciate you tuning in today. Leave comments what you'd like to see. Like and subscribe to our channel, D&D Sports Talk. That'll help us grow this thing. We want to keep it going. Right now, I think we're going to start off as a weekly podcast, but the more interest we get, we'll move to a couple of times a week. We'll do some lives and come on when maybe during some games we can watch and talk about it together. When we get big news on recruits, or we'll go live when it may not be in the setting we're in now. We may be at work and pop on for just a second. But we really appreciate you tuning in. We'd like to thank Bob Etzel for StreamYard and teaching us how to use it. We'd like to thank everybody that's tuning in and hope to see you next week. I'm David.
I'm Dustin.
You guys have a great night.